Welcome back to Boruto Anime Review, episode number 275. This I'm reviewing the 275th episode of Boruto Next Generation, To the Sky Again. Yeah, this is kind of a weird thing with this one, where it's the end of one story arc and the beginning of a completely different story arc. No, seriously, that's kind of odd for this series. I've never seen him do this before. Like, I have been watching this series now for 5 years, and it has never done this before. We finished up a story arc, and then like the very next story arc is begun the very next episode. Yeah, so in this episode we do see that we do see a few things happening, where right after Takusa, he gets his hawk taken away from what was happened just last episode. By the way, in case you're curious, though, yes, I do realize, though, it has been just a few days since I reviewed the last episode. That was because I didn't get a chance to review it last week until like Saturday, which I was not particularly quite happy with that. So, they pretty much basically, like, Tezuka gets locked in his room after his hawk is locked in a cage. Really, like, he was like, oh, good news! It's been sold to a taxidermist. Yep, that is what happened with it. Now, as for why in the world is a taxidermist, don't know. He gets upset, so he breaks out of his room, takes his hawk back, and proceeds to try to run away. Meanwhile, though, Boruto sees that Sasuke has come back with his hawk, and he kind of like, okay, I wrapped up my thing I wanted to do. So then, of course, basically, like, he mentioned, but of course, Tenzo, like, I like the fact they brought up last episode, basically was learning how to write, so he wrote on their hawk on the back to meet you tomorrow, and of course, he wanted to meet him at the Ruskin place. So, this is kind of the thing. Like, so, they have him briefly fight a wolf, and they have Sasuke and Boruto fight a wolf in the episode, the only action we see the whole episode. No, seriously, that's the only action we see this whole episode. So then, of course, like, oh, we're going to be if you give me this hawk, I'll give you this hawk, and it's later revealed, like less than a few minutes after they leave, that apparently Sasuke put the hawk on the Miracle Shuriken, where it looked like it died, and then comes back to life, escapes, also frees all the animals, and causes a lot of the security to go off. Then, of course, basically, the hawk gets back to him, the chief of security, aka the owner's paid off police officer, where he's like, oh, he caused us, and it, of course, when Bard mentions his name is Sasuke, he's like, Sasuke, you mean the arm? He knows exactly who he is. And he mentions who his boss, like, that's Sasuke Uchiha, he's out of your league. Yeah, which means that basically he can't do anything about it all because basically Sasuke is a well-respected figure in the ninja world. Then, of course, we actually have a bit of canonicy here. By the way, Tezuka, he gets dropped up with the old man they met last episode, where he basically just learns to live his own life. Learn hardships. They also briefly bring up the mother's backstory. Apparently she lived a boring life, and when she got lost, apparently no one bothered to look for him. Like, really? That's the reason for all starting this, because you led a boring life, you got lost, and no one looked for you, and no one bothered to? That sounds so stupid. Yeah, and then of course Sasuke leaves Boruto. Boruto goes back to Hidden Leaf Village. Now, where's Sasuke going? He's looking for code. That's simply put the reason for it. It's almost like they wrote him out here because basically the writer of this episode knew what's going to happen next. Naruto hops on the Thunder Train back to Hidden Leaf Village. He's there with someone from the Hidden Stone Village. We also someone from the Hidden, I think it was like his Hidden Mist Village. They would transport a prisoner. It's on the way back, and then of course Bart sort of wakes up, and then he wakes up in this mysterious white room with a bunch of bunk beds. And all passengers on the train apparently they also have a train crash. I'm like, what? And that's the episode. Yes. I gotta say, pretty okay episode per se, but I gotta say, this is by far the weirdest episode. I feel like, though, watching this episode, I feel like, though, the conclusion of this little mini arc was rushed just so I can get to the very next story arc. What the story arc is, I don't know, because next episode is called Welcome to the Maze. And apparently Bart is going to go through experiments for reasons. Excuse me, yes. But yeah, just an okay episode. Not much to write home about. I'd say probably the best bit was Sasuke's him when using the American Shuriken. That's it. I feel like, though, watch the episode, you can think about watching it. It seems like not a lot happens this episode. It's a pretty average episode, per se. But that's basically where this comes this one. Next week looks kind of interesting. But I'm still going to watch it because I like Boruto. Yep. So yeah, that's episode review. Next up is a 2000 Comic Corner, okay? Next video. Bye.